Hello everyone, we are live on BRStv. Had a little bit of a delay there due to some technical issues, but we're here. I'm William, I'm here with Kyle, and we're gonna take some questions and answers, do some polls.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Not giving anything away today, but
no, but
it's
maybe
a little bit low key, a little bit more relaxed today, so I think it's gonna be good. Good little break from all the fun stuff.
Definitely, but about that fun stuff, we did some big giveaways, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was a blast. So we were out in the warehouse doing the Preferred Reefer Appreciation event, giving away, it was a ton of product.
Yeah.
From a bunch of vendors. That was a blast, wasn't it?
It was so much fun. Honestly, I've been moderating the YouTube channel for so long during those lives. It looked easy, doing it like on screen. As soon as you're in it, totally different ballgame.
Oh yeah.
Kind of blew me away a little bit.
Yeah, when I started here, I was just schlepping the boxes, and now I'm on the camera, and it is way different than I expected. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things, though. It's giving away back to the community. You know, it's a lot of fun.
I like giving free stuff away.
Yeah, definitely. So be sure to check out any of our future giveaway live streams.
And be Preferred Reefer. That way, get a heads up.
It's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
So much fun.
And I had another update for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing some big things in the BRStv studio right now.
Really?
Yeah. We just set up. There's actually in the studio right now. There's 2 brand new tanks, one Max Spec, one Aqua Forest. And
heard you got a couple more today too.
Yeah, we just got 3 nano tanks in today. So we have maybe a Hello Reef, that's JBJ, and a Red Sea.
That's good. Nano tanks are fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. So we have 15, 20, and 26 gallons going in there. We have 2 bigger tanks, but they now have water in them. I just did the aquascapes the other day. And so we're going to be putting things in them. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it turns out. I've been seeing some construction going on in there, and I'm just keep peeking in to see what it's looking like, but it's going to change a lot in the next couple weeks, couple months.
Yeah, there's a big tank in there. We call it the 900, and that guy's actually
coming down?
Coming down.
Yeah?
It's coming down, so that's really exciting. I'm really excited to see these new tanks, pop up and see what's going on in them. A whole bunch of different new lights I get to play around with, and we get to play around with here, and bunch of pumps and everything, so it's looking really cool.
So are we going to see a little bit of variety in each tank?
Lots of variety. That's what I'm most excited for. The high-end stuff, the low-end stuff, all the pumps, everything in between. We get to put our hands on all of them and show them to all you guys. So
I think that's cool. You guys get to see it. We get to play with it, so we have a little bit more experience with all the product lines that we carry.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting.
Yeah, it'll be really cool.
Everybody involved.
But do we have any, maybe you want to take some questions?
Yeah, I think we got some questions today. So if you're just tuning in, we're doing some Q&A. If you have any reefing related questions about what Will and I like to eat for dinner.
Yeah, our hair. We get a lot of those.
Yeah, mullets. Yeah. I've heard that, I've been called Ed Sheeran a couple times.
Yeah, you get that a lot.
It happens way more often than you think.
I think it's a compliment.
In real life, it happens about once a week. YouTube comments are increasing that every day, so I like it.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Theo Von,
yeah, I got
that was a new one.
Von. That's a funny one to me too.
That was a funny one.
Yeah.
But
let's see, what do we got?
We got some questions. I did see some people talking about favorite fish in the chat, so I think we can start with, what's your favorite fish?
Okay, sitting in front of the BRS 360 here, the Achilles tank in here is my favorite. This specific one actually won me over. I think powder blue tangs used to be my favorite just because of that, blue
soft
color.
Blue, yeah,
it's beautiful. But this little guy, big guy, I guess, has so much personality. He's the king of the tank. He has so much personality, but he's really moody. Actually, he'll stop eating and then start eating again, and so he has a big emotional attachment to me. But what about you?
So it's a really close tie. I can't see either of the fish that I like in this tank, but candy basslet is up there, along with the coyote leopard wrasse.
Okay.
So 2 really cool ones. I like the coyote leopard wrasse because you don't see very many white fish with orange spots very often. They're also pretty hard to come by from Australia, but absolutely stunning in my opinion. I used to have a pair. Unfortunately, they did not make it. Had a power outage, so that kind of unfortunately. It
feels like that's kind of one of the enders for a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, even with the battery backup, the power was out too long, so that was rough. I was really sad. Candy basslet is my other one, which happened to survive the power outage just fine. So.
Oh, that's good.
I got the second favorite, like the other favorite fish.
Definitely some high-end fish that we like, huh?
Yeah. I can't help it. If I was gonna go like every day, I would say like green mandarin or yellow tangs are up there for me.
Yeah, I'm a big Macaulay clownfish fan.
I noticed.
I started carrying them.
Yeah. You were excited.
Yeah, I was really excited. We actually went and we took pictures here in the studio, and I took those ones home that we took pictures of because they were looking
good.
Yeah, they're just brown, but there's something about them.
They're underrated. I think it's like. They're slightly unique. Not the most pretty looking fish if you're going to stack all the reef fish up, but hey, can't go wrong with that. Not like unique.
Definitely something different than what everyone else has in their tank.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're starting to see some questions pop in.
Oh, sweet.
I saw a couple from our live streams with the giveaways. I thought were pretty good. I gotta find the first one. I lost my place. Someone that asked a question I like was Martin Mercer Jr. 8615 during the live stream the last one on the 10th. Asked how high can you stack the coral rocks? He has 110 gallon. That's 32 inches high. I think being that you just aquascaped a couple tanks in the studio, this is probably a really good question to ask.
Yeah, it's going to depend just how big the tank is, but on bigger tanks, I'd say 3/4 of the way to the top is about the max. You can see the rocks hit in this tank. They hit about here on the tank, and there are some acros that are maybe an inch or two from the surface, and that poses some kind of problems. I got to frag the tops of them quite a bit. So making sure your rocks are like 3/4 of the way up your tank, and in nano tanks even lower.
Yeah. I say it also depends on the kind of corals you're keeping. If you're doing a bunch of staghorn corals, you want to keep the rock low, give the staghorn plenty of room to grow up. I think some of the best looking tanks I've ever seen are people that have like a giant colony of like belly green slimer. They have like minimal rock work, so bottom of the tank's here, rock work only goes up to here, and then it's just like 2 feet of staghorn, which I think is just impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I think the trend nowadays especially is kind of going towards more minimalist aquascapes, less rock in the tank, more highlighting the coral.
You saw my last tank, and that was like barely any rock.
That was 2 rocks or something like that?
It was like 3 rocks.
Yeah, but once the corals fill out and grow out, you barely even see the rocks anymore, and it looks like a tank full of coral.
Exactly. So that's my advice if you're going with aquascaping. Keep it low, especially if you're doing acros. If you're doing softies, you can kind of go a little bit higher, especially with zoas, since they don't grow tall. You can go as high as you want.
Yep. I'd say even with like Nephthia or other leathers, so to speak, you could go really high though, actually, because I have some in my tank and they actually just hit the surface and just float around on the surface, and it looks really cool. They do that in the worldwide corals, like floating grow things. They have the Nephthia sticking out and it's basically out of the water.
Okay.
So
I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's really cool. You can burn them with the light, which is the one downside to doing that. But yeah, you can totally let them come all the way out of the water if you wanted.
Nice. I need to go down to Florida. Just every time I think about it, it's summer and I don't want to go down when it's 95 and humid.
Yeah, that's when they do wrap.
Yeah.
In the middle of the heat.
But you're a Floridian, so you're used to it.
Yeah, I got used to it. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. No, it was pretty bad actually. It was really hot there.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. I can't believe people live there. I can't believe I live
there. You moved here, so that makes up for it.
Yeah.
In Minnesota.
Now we get like -40.
Yeah.
It's blast. Yeah.
Another question I saw was from Robert Millington 3057. I've just mixed up my first liter of off reef. It was done in a stir, but was left cloudy. Why is this? So that's a really good question. I think our customer service team gets a lot when people are first getting like the DIY mix where they can mix it up themselves rather than getting it pre-mixed. It's cloudy because all the elements are still mixing up. So you want to mix it up in the stir, give it some time. There is going to be a very minor amount of trace elements that are not going to go fully into solution. So just mix it up for the specified amount of time on the bottle. I think it might be like a couple hours.
I think so.
Depending on what you're doing. Make sure you're using RDI water. Like you want to use ultra pure water because you have like tap water, you're going to have like trace elements in that tap water or macro elements that are going to ruin the dissolution rate of it. And then let it sit. If you're seeing it cloudy, let it sit for a little bit, and then once it's clear, you should be able to just start dosing it just fine. Yeah. I always mix it up in a separate container from my dosing container anyway, so anything that's like doesn't fully dissolve just doesn't get put in there. I haven't really had any issues.
No, the little gallon jug, the BRS gallon jug, I mix them up in those things, and that's great. Personally, I just use a liquid one most of the time, but yeah, anytime I have to mix up any powder, I always mix it the day before.
Yeah, give it time.
Mix it up, leave it on a shelf for a while, give it another mix the next day, and you're good to go.
Yeah, but off-reef powder is a great way to save money, especially on a bigger tank. I like it.
Yes.
I was so glad when they came out with that.
Yeah.
Because before we were like doing a DIY option with like the A and K and.
Yeah. No, I love the single dosing head makes it pretty killer.
Yeah. Off switch 1 says help, please. I have a 50-gallon live rock fish tank going. Live rock and fish going into a 125. I'm going to use my water from the smaller tank to the new tank. Are any videos of this being done? I can't find any. Do you have any suggestions? I don't think we're moving any tanks to a fully new tank unless you're doing anything with the 900 that's coming down.
Not to a brand new tank, but the tanks that they're moving to are already, they have rock and sand in them, which is definitely the way I would say if you can get rock and sand in the tank that everything's going into, let it cycle, and then move it over. That's definitely the proper way to do it, but a lot of people don't have the option to do something like that. Couple quick tips is definitely don't move the sand. Leave the sand in your get new sand. And if you can, I would make some new water and use about half of your old water.
Yeah, especially if you're going to a bigger tank, you're going to have some space to add new water.
Yeah.
The old water is going to help any corals and fish that you have acclimate relatively easy, which I think is really good. I would just recommend make sure when you're doing the fish and stuff that you do it quickly so the temperature doesn't drop too much, but also don't rush it where you're stressing the fish out too much. So don't have them like sitting in a tub for hours and hours unless that tub's like set up to hold them for specified.
Yeah, if you can like prep your space to accommodate this, that's the way to go. If you can get a little quarantine set up with a bubbler maybe and a heater to hold your fish, then you're not panicked and running really quickly around to get all these things done.
Perfect. Yeah. I think it's a good answer. A lot of people are moving tanks. I feel like every time I do these lives, someone's talking about a tank upgrade. So
I think so.
It's usually a good sign. It means that you guys are having success if you're getting bigger tanks, which is a good thing. Props to you.
We got another one?
Perfect. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a direction because there's a lot of questions that came in. I think I skipped down to a couple of the newest ones and missed some of the older ones. Rich Singleton, SV2TW. What can someone do if they have... I'll ask this question and then I'll go to the top. I just found out where I'm actually supposed to go. What can someone do if they have a low stocked coral tank, but their pH is anywhere from 7.4 and bounces up to 7.9 with CO2 and a small volume? So low pH, they have a small volume tank and very little coral. That is a good question. 7.4 seems really low. I would double check your test kit to make sure it's accurate first. And if you have a low coral load, especially if they're stony corals, start dosing kalkwasser slowly. That's going to slowly start buffering it up for you. I would not use something like Alpha Reef just because that doesn't have a pH effect, really.
I think kalkwasser is the key for that kind of issue.
And
some of the
add more corals.
Yeah, add more corals. Some of the more like just check on these is how much CO2 is in the air in your house. Are you open your windows every once in a while. If you have a ton of people in the building, you need to get that oxygen flowing through there. And then same thing with surface exchange. Make sure there's enough bubbles either through a skimmer or a return chamber or some kind of water movement on the surface.
Yeah. Also, has not been talked about in a while. I used to talk about it a lot when I was in customer service years ago because CO2 scrubbers were like all the rage.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a skimmer on the tank, CO2 scrubbers are a great way to go, especially if you only have softies and you're not dosing anything. CO2 scrubbers are going to be the only way to effectively boost your pH without impacting your alkalinity or calcium with an additive. Opening your windows or running your skimmer airline to outside. So look at your skimmer if you have one. So oldest question, finally found it. Dwayne Salas, I think he was active in the chat while we were having some issues getting started, asking some questions. He was the one with the favorite fish.
Cool.
He wants to know if anyone has the perfect number of blue-green chromis for a 48 by 18 by 21.
48 by 18 by 21.
That's a tricky one because I'm not personally a fan of chromis because they tend to just whittle down to one every time I've tried them.
They're quite territorial, I find, They bully each other or whatever goes on between them. They don't really last long term.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they need like a bully or something in the tank that helps like divert the aggression, but I generally keep a relatively peaceful tank.
Yeah.
But I've only ever had one or two at best if they pair up. Make the cut.
I'd say the same. We have a pair in here. They do just fine, but they're really mean to basically everyone else in the tank. I'd go with one or two for a tank that size. If you have a really, really big tank like this guy behind us, you could try a school of them, but like you were saying, Kyle, you need some kind of bully or something going on in the tank so they don't just harass each other until you have one left.
Yeah, so that would be my go-to. If you're gonna do a group, I would do at least 3 just so that way the aggression is like minimized. Just a general rule with any shoaling or schooling fish, at least 3, maybe 5, probably best. I usually do 5 when I do Anthias, if I can, unless we're talking like the really rare ones that you only get like 1 or 2 at best. Because they don't come in very often. But 5 is where I would start, and then you're probably gonna end up down to 1 or 2 after a little bit.
Unfortunately, I think 5 to 7 is the right kind of number for the look that you're trying to achieve too. If you want a big school of fish, it doesn't look like a school when you have 3 of them.
No, it doesn't.
It mainly like 5, 7, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Or you can get a really big tank and do chromis only and do like 30.
That's true.
That might work. I don't know. I haven't tried it though.
I used to service a tank actually that had like maybe 50 green chromis and a shark.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a very interesting 1,200 gallon tank.
That's a big tank.
Yeah.
I don't think most people have room for that.
No, that's probably when you put 50 to 70 chromis in your tank. Yeah.
It'll be fine. It'll all work out.
Yeah.
Next question I see is MN Outdoors. I think you're probably local, so
maybe.
Hi from Minnesota, since we're here.
It's
William,
the season to be outdoors.
he has a question for you.
Okay.
He asks, what is the Halicories rest in the tank behind you? I think there's a couple, if I'm not mistaken, because I see a yellow one popping up right now.
Yes. There's the yellow chorus. There is. So we used to have more.
There's a Melanaris in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a Melanaris. There used to be a red chorus in here that I sent back to Elliot from Marine Collectors because it got like this big.
He was huge.
Yeah,
he was flipping everything over.
Yep. Yeah, I would come in every day. Half the corals would be knocked off the rocks. So he's no longer here. I think it's the yellow.
There's the Melanaris. He's behind my shoulder.
I just learned that one is called an axle spot wrasse.
Okay.
That took a while to figure out. That one's exciting. Oh, there is a green chorus in here as well.
Yeah.
So those would be the three.
Yeah. So we got 3 Halicories in here. So not just one. We got 3.
3 of them. Yeah. And the Melanaris is definitely my favorite. He's also really friendly. You know, he's always out in the front, always looking around for food.
I love them.
The green is always hiding, and the yellow is kind of in between.
They got a pecking order.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. I think Josh, who's in the chat, did a poll. He says, "What is your dream tank size?" The leader in that is actually surprising me for a dream tank size. Most people at 51% said 40 gallons or less.
40 gallons or less for a dream.
That's different. If you would have asked this like 5-6 years ago, everyone would have been saying like 300 plus. But 22% said 75 to 120. 18% said 150 to 300. Oh, Josh is correcting me here.
Oh.
Okay, he reversed it. Okay.
Oh, we're backwards.
He's backwards. Sorry.
Okay.
So 150 to 300 is 51%. Okay,
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was gonna say things have really changed.
Is there an over 300?
No.
Okay. I don't think there's many people that want that much water in general. So yeah, I think that's.
Space is limited.
Yeah.
Budgets are a little bit tighter now, obviously, for most people. Yeah. So totally understand that. Also, as far as maintenance goes, I would rather maintain like a little 15-gallon and have it look pristine over having a.
Yeah.
I can't say the word on stream, but I don't want it to look like crap as like a 300-gallon tank. This was at my house. This would not look good. That's
no, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Yeah, I'd say for me, the dream size is definitely 6 foot. 6 foot is the key. I think 4 feet you can't keep a lot of the fish that I'd like to keep. And 2 feet deep would be the other main factor. So I can, again, keep some tangs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of height, I don't want to get my armpit wet. So I'd stay about 24. 26 is around the max I'd ever go. 28 is pushing it. This guy is, I think, 28 or 30, and when you reach into the middle, you get your armpit wet. So too big. That's official.
Let's see, my dream tank. I go back and forth on this because it depends on if I'm like going for my dream fish or if I'm going for like my dream like reef setup.
Right. Yeah.
Which I think I'd probably default to my dream reef setup, which is kind of like a Solomon Islands themed.
Okay.
Biotope. I would probably do something like similar to the Innovative Marine 112, where it's like a 3 foot by 3 foot, but it's like
really shallow. Yeah.
And it would just be Millipora City.
Yeah, you do like those sticks.
I love Millipora.
Yep.
I don't care about tenias. I care less about those. But Millies, they got my heart.
Especially little fuzzy, thick sticks.
Yeah, especially the blue ones, because you don't see them anymore. They used to be like super popular back in the day when everyone was running like 10K metal halides. But now that everyone runs blue light, the blue Millies look like just dark spots.
Yeah, we have an Oregon Tort in here, and when the lights really go blue, I always get a little sad because it's so pretty with these daylights going, and then you get the blue, and it's like, oh, it kind of just looks like a rock.
So yeah, I'm with 22% of you. I'm going 112 specifically for that 3 foot by 3 foot Innovative Marine tank.
I'm definitely in the majority with the bigger tanks. Yeah.
Awesome. That was a good poll.
I like that one.
D-Light Gaming has a question of, can I put my new clownfish in my 20-gallon tank with a salinity of 1.010? I'm getting the fish today. So that is a great question. I'm going to say I wouldn't recommend it if you can, in any way, shape, or form, boost that salinity up before they get put into the tank. I would.
Yeah.
So you can do that by adding a little bit of salt into a really high flow area, make sure it's fully dissolved. Hopefully get that closer to like 1.018. Then add the fish. The the little bit of advice I will add is you can drop salinity on a fish relatively easily. It's less stressful. It actually, lower salinity means more oxygen for the fish. They adapt a little bit quicker. Just drip acclimate them, get the salinity to match as best you can before you add them. It's much harder to go up in salinity. So if the salinity in the bag is like 1.018, your tank's at 1.026, that's the more stressful.
It'll be much more stressful. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of quarantine systems, they run around 1.018, 19. I've even seen it down to 1.015. So yeah, definitely not a problem for fish at that level. 1.010 is a little low. If you have salt on hand, definitely bump that up.
Yeah, I would definitely bump it up. The 1.010, I think that's like the low. I can't remember if that's quite hyposalinity or like how far, where on the scale that is.
It's too close for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's really low. So I personally would add more salt, dissolve it, then get the salinity up, and then you should be set.
Yeah.
Especially if you have salt on hand. Otherwise, if you have pre-mixed stuff, just take some out and then add it back.
Yeah, do a water change basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Jake Westendorf has a 36-gallon tank. Which fish would you recommend one or two of for a 36-gallon tank?
I mean, clownfish is the obvious answer.
Yeah.
Bit of a boring answer, so maybe we'll give some more interesting ones.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal your answer and go with basslets of some kind. I was pretty sure that's what you were going to go for. I would do a pair of basslets, one basslet, two, something like that. They're really elusive fish. They kind of hide in the rocks. So they're really fun when you come and look at the tank to go look for. I think they do great with something like a clownfish. So you have the clown that's out and about. So when you look at the tank, there's some movement, but the basslet sits in the rock, so you can come and investigate it.
I do like having to play a little hide and seek with my fish.
Yeah.
It makes looking at the tank way more fun, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That way I'm like more engaged. I'm actually looking at the tank. So I like fish that hide. So basslets. Blennies would be another good one. They're full of personality, especially in a small tank. I would do like a tail spot blenny personally.
What was the tank size?
36 gallons.
36. Then also like a hawkfish too.
Hawkfish, yeah.
Yep, like a long-nosed hawkfish. They get a little big. 36 is about their limit, I'd say.
Yeah,
but
depends on the dimensions of your footprint, but flame hawkfish is another really good one.
Yep.
Super brightly red colored. There's no other fish that is as red. It's like
it's such a deep, it's really pretty.
Personality,
red.
Lots of it.
They're so funny. They will eat like every shrimp that you have. At least mine did.
Add the cleaner shrimp first. That's what I would recommend. Good question. Hopefully that gives you some ideas with your 36-gallon tank, and let us know if you tune in next time what you decided on.
Yeah, it'd be cool to hear what someone got.
Yeah, I like updates.
Yeah, definitely.
Casper M asks, having a really hard time getting flow right. The tank is 33 gallons, has a Tunzi Comline 3162, which is like one of their multi-filter power filters.
Right.
And two Nero 3s, no sumper AIO, and no matter how I seem to do it, too much flow or too little. So I would look at the Neros, because you're not going to be able to adjust the Comline filter. I would set the Comline filter first. Just know where it's pointing at.
Yep.
Try to not directly blast any of the rocks. And then the Nero 3s, start with one, crank it to where you think it is, and then cut that in half. And then add the second Nero 3 if you have this, since you have two. I personally, on this tank, unless you're doing SPS, I would start with just the one. It should probably get you most of the way. And especially if you're doing LPS or softies, I would do a pulse mode on it. Yeah. Personally, just because then it's like less direct flow right on the corals, and you get the nice swaying motion with the power head.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. On 33 gallons, depending, if it's a cube especially, because 33 is typically a cube, I would say one Nero to start out is going to be key. If you end up with a lot of coral and the corals are kind of blocking the flow, then adding a second one would be a good idea. But I think probably starting with one on a cube. If it's a longer tank, like a peninsula or something like that, you could probably do both Neros, but I maybe try just one for now. Yeah.
So you have a second one for backup in case anything goes wrong, or if you get a bigger tank, you are already set.
Yeah, I always have two because I take one out and I just dump it in some citric and plug the other one right in.
Yeah. And while we were answering that question, we had a super chat from Demco's Kneebones for $6.99 Canadian. Thank you for the super chat. I have an almost encrusting green algae. Is this a precursor to coralline, or should I be concerned? I'm going to say generally most of the encrusting stuff I see is either like just a film algae that just will never go away but does not cause any harm with the corals, or it is actually coralline algae and you can just ignore it. So I wouldn't be worried about it. The only things that I'd be worried about is stuff that blows off really easily, is super slimy, and will also blow off really easily, or stuff that grows into a long grass-like pasture on your rocks.
Yep. Yeah, I'd
if
say
it's just encrusting, I would leave it.
definitely remember that coralline comes in basically every color. I've seen it black.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, I've seen black ones. It's almost, I think it's a dark brown really, but like a really dark brown. I've seen it light brown, like a tan, pink, red, purple.
I love the orange.
The orange ones.
I love the orange coralline algae.
Green. The question
yeah.
itself. Yep. Green is definitely a common color for coralline algae. Jeez.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I would say if it's sticking to the rock, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Them goes. Great question, and thanks for the super chat. Thanks for tuning in. Looks like Josh had another poll going. What's your reef tank guilty pleasure? 0% said rearranging rock work way too often.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that. I see there's some people that I follow on like YouTube and Instagram where I swear their aquascape is different like every 6 months.
Well, they're clearly in the minority here.
They're not doing that here.
That sounds like work to me.
Overfeeding because they look hungry came in at 30%, which was also tied with adding just one more frag. I'm guilty of the add just one more frag.
Me too.
I can't help myself. And then staring at the tank for hours instead of cleaning it at 38%. That's also me.
Okay, yeah.
Maintenance, I will put off as long as I can.
Yeah, so I take care of all of them here, and on my day where I'm cleaning all the glass, I don't go home and clean my glass. And so I look through the dirty tank. But
Obstructed view.
Yep. Yeah, but other than that, I'd say for me, it's basically impossible to not add another frag. I have a little frag rack that they go on now because there's no space on my rock.
It's time for an upgrade.
Yeah.
Time for a bigger tank is what I'm thinking is.
I hope so. Yeah,
We'll see.
Maybe I'll have too many tanks at some point.
You're about to have a lot here.
Yeah.
We'll see if you have the energy.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
Yeah. So that's a good poll. I am guilty of the staring at the tank too long and not cleaning it as well, or the one more frag. It's like 50-50.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Mike asks, on a 60-gallon cube with 2 Kessel A360 XEs, would you use 4 T5s or blades to reduce shadowing of the SPS branches? What color T5 or LED fill light? This is a really good question. I think for just ease of installation, I would probably go the 4 T5s. I'm really partial to the Kessel and T5 hybrid. I think it's like probably one of the best combos I've ever seen.
It's really pretty.
Personally.
Yep.
And if you're going the T5 route, I would go 2 blue plus and then 2 purple plus. Is my favorite combo. With that, and then just tune the Kessels to get the spectrum that you want, like during the midday. I usually go a little bit white, like fuller spectrum white on it. Personally, just because I like getting that full day white spectrum during the day, and then it's super blue at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. Blades are an option, and I know you have experience with the Kessel blade hybrid.
Yeah, I was gonna open the top, but I think it would destroy the shot. So
we don't want to ruin Dave's
I'm not gonna open that.
shot.
It's very nicely set up. But on top of this tank, we have, it's 6 Kessels, 6 blades going on up here, and so it's 3.
Is it only 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's 3 grows, 3 glows, and then actually it's 6 Kessels, but the old ones, the X's, the 360X's. And yeah, the Kessels run almost white, and then the glow and the grows bring all the blue and the shading.
And it looks really good.
Shading. It does.
It looks really good. I'm just really partial to the T5 one. I don't know what it is.
There's something
I like a little bit less shimmer.
It can't be beat.
Yeah.
You know, there's something unique about the T5 bulb itself. But the blades get, at least from my experience, the blades get really close to that T5 look.
Yeah, they do have the least amount of shimmer. I know we did test like the Kessel with like the Reef Brights.
Yep.
On one of the tanks a couple years ago. When I was looking at it, I couldn't see anything but TV static.
It's definitely a little bit more shimmery.
Yeah, it was a little too much for my eyes personally.
But some people really like the shimmer, you know. So it's just whatever you like. If you like the shimmer, stay away from T5s.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then if you're doing the LED, going with the blade option, would you go grows or glows to supplement the
50-50.
50-50?
Definitely 50-50. The glows are my favorite. That UV spectrum that they put off is really, really nice when it hits, especially Acropora. But I'd go 50-50. 1 of each or 2 of each.
Nice, nice. Something to consider. Maybe on my next tank.
They're cool.
I'll change it up.
They're really cool.
Yeah, I'll change it up. We got another super chat from Andrew Mayer for $5. Says,
thank you.
Say hi to Matthew L for me.
Oh.
Thanks for the super chat, and we will definitely say hi to Matthew.
I wonder if that's who makes the rugs.
It might be. He's made some sick rugs if this is the guy.
Yeah. So Matthew is in our customer service manager.
Yeah, he's been here for years, though.
He's been here like forever. You probably talked to him on the phone.
Yeah.
And one of his buddies makes the coolest rugs. He made a Mr. Chili rug, and it's insane.
I really want to steal it, but I feel like it'd be too obvious that I stole it if I did.
Yeah, I think people like that one a little too much.
Just a little too much. Yeah. There's too many eyes on it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Awesome. Arbor Press asks, when will you guys come out with reefing shirts that stand out to non-reefing people? Most companies slap on Euphilia graphic and call it a day. The BRS Salty shirts is a good start. So I don't have any exact details on when the next one's going to come out, but we did like a Happy Fragging 4th of July shirt, which I think you're wearing.
Yeah, I'm wearing it. It's this is going to be hard.
Yeah, don't mess up the microphone.
I won't mess up the microphone. But on the back, it says Happy Fragging 4th of July. It's a pretty cool shirt.
Yeah, so expect more similar to this with some holidays coming up is what I've been told. So
hopefully.
We're trying to get some more creative.
I get every single shirt that we make, usually a few of them.
Yeah, we modeled. We modeled
we
this
do
for the
model
website.
them.
Yeah. So
this is the shirt that was in the picture.
that same one.
Yeah.
You've ordered a lot.
We got
You're
different shirts. We didn't wear the same
I got a different shirt today. But so there'll be more like this. There will be more along the lines of salty, more generic, more just like kind of funny. But that's definitely something that's on our radar, something that our team wants to do. So if you have any like really cool shirt ideas, maybe drop them in the chat.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
We need some inspiration because there's never too many ideas for shirts.
No, it's same content, shirts, everything. I love new ideas and
I like
see what the people want.
Speaking of ideas, we did fill some this or that's this morning.
Yes.
If you guys in the chat have any ideas for other topics that you want us to cover that haven't been posted already.
Look, the fish feeder went off.
Oh, nice.
That's exciting.
They're hungry. But if you guys have any ideas for this or that conversations for us to go over for you guys, drop them in the chat so we can get some more ideas. We have a lot, but we want to make sure that we're getting topics that you guys actually enjoy watching. So
yeah, we just sit down and make these up ourselves, but what if you guys want to know something? So yeah, let us know.
For sure. Hopefully Josh catches them all.
Good luck.
Yes. Casper, in a puff question. I don't know where that went. Casper had the 33 gallon with the Neros and the coal mine skimmer.
Got it.
The tunes is adjustable a tiny bit. There's some kind of thing that you can turn it. It turns flow up or down 70 to 225 gallons per hour. So I would still stick with my answer. I would go with just the one Nero, 3 to start, and then just adjust from there. Especially if you're doing LPS and softies, pulse mode is going to be your best friend.
Right, but they're saying that the little comm line has like I think it's like an AC pump with a little valve, basically.
So I would place that, like I said, make sure you're not blasting the rock directly with the output of that, because it's going to be a narrow flow. Not going to be a wide flow spread out like the Nero is. Your corals aren't going to like direct flow. Ideally, put it on the back so it's like shooting across the back behind the rock work, is what I would do personally. And then just the one Nero to start. See how your corals react, and make sure you give it like a week before you like make many other adjustments, because corals will take some time to adjust to it. I've changed pumps out on my tanks like completely. Like my tank in the office, I started with like the Red Sea gyre pumps.
Sure.
Because I initially thought I was going to be doing SPS in that tank, and then I was like, I don't have time for SPS.
Right.
So I swapped over to softies and LPS. So I took the gyres off, swapped to one MP40. The corals like reacted to the flow pattern change.
Right.
It took them about a week, and then after that week, they were settled in. They liked the new flow. They opened up, and they're like looking good again. So give it a week, adjust it, and go from there.
Whenever I adjust the flow in this tank, the acros don't seem to mind too much, or at least it's not as noticeable on the acros. But there's a torch down here, and it's the moodiest torch ever. Yeah. And you can tell when the flow's wrong because he will be closed. So if I ever forget to turn a pump back on after feeding or something like that, that one will let me know. So definitely give them some time to acclimate and open back up.
Exactly. Patience is key when you make any adjustment, and only change one thing at a time.
Yes.
Dwayne Salas, after the complete cycle, is it recommended to just hit the tank with max pods and follow with Ocean Magic? So I would do pods right away after the cycle's done, personally. Just get the pod population there. You don't necessarily have to do any Ocean Magic or phytoplankton if you want. I will usually just ghost feed, because that will just help form diatoms, which is a really good food source for pods. That way the pods can all like get in the tank, multiply, establish a population, get in all the rock work and crevices, and start reproducing on their own. Then you add your fish, which will then start consuming some of them.
Yep. Yeah. Same exact thing. I personally wait until I see the diatoms. So I wait until the brown starts to show up on the rocks and starts to show up on the sand, and then I add the copepods at that point because that's what they're going to eat. But that's basically the same thing. You don't need the Fido. It's a good source, especially if you wanted to do it a little bit quicker. You can definitely get the Fido. I think most of the time you would want to maybe put it in the fridge and dose it over like a week or so, just to keep that pod population really high. But not necessary. I know Algae Barn does like a bundle with all of them in there. It's a cool bundle. If you want to just like a one-stop shop, that's a really good option. But you could also just do the pods.
Yeah, the Fido is going to help boost the population more because it's a more direct food source, but you're going to have to like turn your filters off, especially like a protein skimmer UV sterilizer. Probably depending on what mechanical filtration you have, probably want to turn that off. So I just don't think it's worth the risk if you're really dosing the Fido for population growth in your pods. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it in that sense. But new tank, if you're willing to like dose it, turn your filtration off for a couple hours, then start it back up again, all good. But I just usually do the pods.
Yeah, me too.
So that's a good question, Dwayne. Thanks for another one. Ben Sham asks, I'm consistently battling low calcium and alkalinity. I have a 24-gallon tank with some soft corals, 1 frog spawn, and 1 chalice. They dose half a cup of code A and B daily. Can I dose a full capful? Yeah, I would say you probably need to bump the dosing up.
Check your magnesium. Magnesium is going to affect both of those levels. So as long as your magnesium is within a normal operating parameter, you should just dose more.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, dose more. And if you are going to start dosing, if you're going to go from like a half cap full to a full cap full, I would probably just spread it out.
Yep.
It doesn't look like you have a super high demand tank. I don't remember the concentration of code A and B from Brightwell off the top of my head. So I don't
think it's necessarily that concentrated.
Yeah, I just don't remember. I don't want to like tell you to go full bore and dose it. Look at the directions to see if it has any like guidelines besides the cap full. I think there might be something there, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I'd say just don't double your dose right away.
Spread it out.
Spread it out a little bit. Yeah, exactly. That's all it is.
So dose it twice a day instead of once a day. See if that helps. And also test your magnesium because that's going to be the stabilizer between your major minerals.
That's what I would guess. If you keep adding more and more and they're not going up, check your magnesium. That would be what I would say.
Awesome. Good question, Ben. Thanks for tuning in. MT often has a question. What's the best flow setup for a cube? For starters, a small cube. So I think they have a smaller tank, cube shape. I don't know how small you're talking. I'm going to just go with something like the Innovative Marine, like 10-gallon cube, or like a 15-gallon cube, somewhere in there. So depending on the corals you get, is going to be the biggest dictator on this as far as like the best flow goes. Generally, in these smaller tanks, I lean with LPS and softies, and I've always been like a single power head, and pulse mode is the way I usually do it for those. Just because in a cube tank, it is really hard to get the right flow pattern because you can't like shoot across the tank because the tank's not as long. And it's also hard to like aquascape and like not hit things because you usually only have like the sides, especially if it's an all-in-one, to mount your pumps on.
Yeah, I'd say cubes are the hardest, definitely, for flow, for aquascaping too. They're quite a challenge. They look really good when you get it right, but other than that, it's just really hard. I'm more, if it's under 15 gallons, 15 gallons is about where I change my opinion on things, but at 15 gallons and less, I wouldn't run a power head. I would upgrade your return pump, either with like a little Axis or the Mighty Jet from Innovative Marine. Do a little DC return pump and do like a random flow generator or the spin stream, something like that on your return to get the flow spread out and more random, and then just ramp up that return pump and use that as your primary flow for less than 15 gallons. Now, if you want to do SPS or if you want to go over 15 gallons, then I would look at some kind of DC power head. Innovative Marine makes a tiny one, and then the Nero 3 is the other really small one. I'd go for one of those two and do like a pulse, like you were saying.
I like pulse mode a lot on smaller tanks and LPS and softies. I just like seeing it sway.
Yep. Yeah, I have a full softy tank at home, and it took me like a week or so to dial it in, but now the whole tank flows to the left and then right and then left and right, and it's so peaceful to come home to.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I don't have a power head in my Hello Reef tank. I took that out because my NEMs were wandering into it.
Oh, they do like to do that.
Yeah. So now it's just a return pump that's upgraded. So that's
another good point. A lot of people are doing nanos with an anemone in them. Don't add a power head if you're doing like 15 gallons or less with an anemone. I don't recommend it. They can move pretty quickly, and they'll, one day you might just find it stuck in your power head. And that's always a a tragedy.
Yeah, I lucked out. I had an anemone in my office tank here before I changed the lights out on the tank. I put it in the rockwork, and it did not move there for
I remember
months.
that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just every weekend I'd come back in on Monday like, did it move?
So I got an anemone from the exact same batch as you did, and mine moved all over my tank. So there you go. There's another little. It doesn't matter. There's a clone of the exact same anemone. His didn't move at all, and mine went all over my tank.
Yeah,
so.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, anemones.
Yeah, they're tricky. Casper, I think he asked a question earlier, says, is 0.6 DKH a lot of consumption per day for only a live rock and a single torch coral? Yes, but it also depends on like the water volume we're talking.
Yeah.
That's a little bit heavier than I normally see for a single torch coral. It also depends on how big that torch coral is, because 5 heads of a torch coral is going to consume more alkalinity than a single polyp.
Also, if this is an older tank, you have a lot of other things growing in that tank that are going to consume those things.
Snails, shrimp, crabs.
Yeah.
Your
coralline algae is the big one for me. I noticed that when I scraped all the coralline off the back of this tank, it took a lot less alkalinity and calcium every day.
Secret money sink is your coralline algae.
Yeah.
People don't think about it because they think it's pretty, but coralline algae in your tank, I've like started becoming, I don't want to waste my money on coralline algae. I'd rather dose for corals.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like I can't prevent it from being in my tank, but if I could, I would.
Yeah. So if you're going down by that much, something's going on. Something's consuming it or using it. If you have like really odd pH, it could be binding to your rocks or sand, stuff like that. But
yeah, precipitation. So again, check your magnesium, but also check your sand. Make sure it's not clumping together.
Yep. If everything looks healthy, don't mess with it too much. You know.
Yeah. I got a couple more questions. Pratt Mesh asks, my bird arrest has died to your stomach was bloated. I don't think that's a question. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry about that. Bloating can be caused by so many different things. I'm not a veterinarian, so I don't want to speak on like what could cause that, how to fix it. But especially if you had it for a while, it may have gotten air, may have just gotten old, may have eaten something that just caused an infection.
Yeah.
If it's new, it could just be like swim bladder issues, stuff like that. But bird arrests usually aren't super deep water, so it's not super common, but hard to say exactly without fully seeing the fish, fully knowing the background. So that's unfortunate.
If it's a newer fish, I'd probably say an infection or an issue in transit. If it's an older fish, it always gets a lot more confusing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mystery. Troy Tucker, this is relevant to that we kind of talked about.
Oh, cool.
Battling high nitrates, 90-gallon tank with only 5 fish, feeding reduced to every other day currently, and still sitting around 20 to 40 parts per million. Weekly 20-gallon water changes. Any advice on things to try? There's a lot of different ways to go about it. I don't know what your phosphate level is at, but refugium or turf scrubber would probably be my preferred route to go. But also just double check your filtration. If you have a protein skimmer, make sure it's like actually skimming.
Yeah.
And the skimmate should stink a lot.
Yeah, definitely retune all your filtration, check your filtration. If you have like dividers, like aqua mesh dividers or things like that, clean them out. Maybe do a little bit of a deep clean in your sump.
Yeah, if you have filter socks, make sure you're changing those out like every 2 days.
Yep.
Not once a week. We did some BRS investigates like way back in the day.
Get a roller mat.
Yeah,
if you don't want to be changing them all the time.
Roller mat, filter floss. Yeah. That's easier to grab and change.
But one of the big things for me, if you have high nutrients, why do you want to lower it? Is the question. Now, for fish, about 20, anywhere above 20 can be irritating to fish. So we don't want to go too high. But I always like to ask people, why do you want it lower? Because if you're sitting at 20 and your corals are growing, your fish are healthy and happy, you're feeding enough food, I wouldn't mess with it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch anything. But if you're having issues, then you want to look into nutrient export options.
Which, oddly enough, this tank is something that runs on high nutrients. You were telling me today. What are the nitrate levels on this tank?
So this thing runs really high, which is always a struggle for me. It runs between 20, 25, and like up to 40 right before I do a water change on it. It runs auto water change. It runs a roller mat, skimmer, has a giant Kato ball, runs phosphate removal media, and it still sits really, really high in the nutrients. And these corals, the big acros on the top are growing maybe an inch and a half a month. They're growing insanely
crazy.
fast. Polyps are fully extended. All the fish are happy. The only thing that I would say about that high nutrients is that you got to clean it a lot.
Yeah.
I clean the sand in this thing. Even now, the sand is slightly brown, and I clean it.
The glass gets
twice
dirty
or 3
faster.
times a week. Yeah, I clean the glass about 3 times a week. So you're definitely cleaning way more often when you have high nutrients. But if there's nothing going on, don't mess with it. Just don't mess with it.
My other thing is if you are really having high nitrates, double check your nitrate test. I've had some of them where they just read erroneously high for a long time until things like really drop. If they are really that high and you really do want to get them down for whatever reason, if you're like having an algae issue or are really having really do not want to clean your glass every other day and you want to cut it down to like once a week, I would just do a half-year water change.
Yeah.
Just bump it up. Do on a Saturday or Sunday when you got some time, make up like 45 gallons of water, do that 50% water change. That should cut them in half theoretically. And if it doesn't, that's going to be your number one sign that your RODI water or new saltwater is having some issues where you're getting some nitrates.
Yeah, check your source.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Check your source of your water.
Especially on wells this time of year. Most places are doing fertilization for their crops.
That's true.
And if you're on a well, that means it's getting into your water source most often.
What about like no pox? I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of using a chemical to solve something in my fish tank unless absolutely necessary. It's
not that it's a chemical for no pox. I don't like having to dose something every single day. That's not an automatic doser.
Yep.
I'm unfortunately a lazy reefer sometimes.
Okay.
And if it's not on a doser, I don't want to deal with it as an additive. I used to do like KZ stuff all the time. I've cut back to just 2 bottles because I was tired of doing the drops.
Yep.
And having to remember which bottle I had to do every day versus every other day versus once a week. That was not for me. I was like, I'm just doing flatworm stop and
Coral Love or
the
Coral Booster.
Coral Booster.
Yep.
I was doing those 2 just for the flatworms and the extra tissue growth on the corals.
Yeah.
That was all I was doing it for. I was
Okay.
like, every day. That was simple.
Yeah,
But
I think, it's the same kind of thing for me. If you don't need it, I wouldn't go for it. Now, if you tried a bunch of things, like you have a skimmer rated for your tank, if you have a roller mat, and you just happen to have like a ton of fish, and you're doing a lot of water changes, and it's still not coming down, no pox it's a safe option. Like you're not going to crash your tank using it, but I would use it more as like a last option.
Yeah. We had a super chat again.
Oh wow!
Empty Often gave us $19.99 saying thanks. He asked a question. Thanks for asking it.
Thank you.
And thanks for the super chat. And thanks for tuning in.
Awesome.
That's super awesome, super kind of you. We had a poll as well. Josh asked, what's your dream tank reef location? 80% said the living room, 12% said the office, 6% said the kitchen, and 6% said the bedroom. That is a tricky one. Where would you put your dream tank?
Oh man, probably my office. I think it's where most people spend a lot of time. It's definitely where I want my stress relief.
Yeah.
Like doing something stressful, maybe doing an edit or something, and I want to just turn and look at my tank. I'd say that or living room is my 2 choices.
If I could find all the gear to make it like a dead silent aquarium, I would do a bedroom just because that would be my place to like unwind, relax. I can just look at it. I can't remember his name from Instagram or YouTube. I think it's like Moonshine something. Not Moonshiner's Method, but like Moonshine something. He's over in Europe. His tank, he has like a 125 gallon tank. It's like the foot of his bed.
Oh, that's fun.
I love that tank.
I remember.
I had to find his YouTube channel.
I remember watching an episode of Tanked where they did the one over the.
Okay, that's
the head
no.
part.
I could not do
and
that.
And you'd sit down and you'd see the fish swimming over you.
I couldn't
Maybe
do
a little
that.
much, yeah.
That's a little too much for me. A little too relaxing. I would never get out of bed at that point.
I used to have I think I had like 5 fish tanks in my bedroom growing up, and so now it's a no fish tank zone for
No
me.
fish tank zone.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's a good poll question. Pull the Trigger asks, which bacteria do you recommend for a starter tank? I live in Belgium. I don't know what is available in Belgium.
Well, I got a fun answer for that one because I just got to play with it. The PNS, the one you put in the sand.
The deep cycle?
The deep cycle. Yeah, that is really cool stuff. It's a really interesting concept. You like mix it into your sand and then let the sand sit for a little bit, and then it's like inoculating your sand with the bacteria, and it smells like anaerobic bacteria. Absolutely, like a very sulfurous smell to it.
Yeah.
And it feels like it works. A lot of these bottled bacteria, it's really hard to tell what's going on actually. Yeah. But I cycled the tanks here with them, and it's really cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it on my new tank. I'm really, really excited to try it out. It looks really cool. I would say just blanket statement, I would try Dr. Tim's. It's just like a tried and true staple. I'm pretty sure it's available in most places in Europe, I would have to guess.
I hope so.
Or there's this like really cool like one that you have to like shake, Aqua Vitro.
Aqua Vitro,
Yeah. I like that one a lot. I had really good success with cycling tank on that. So if you have it, I think it's also originates in Europe, so it should be available for you.
Yeah. I'd say Brightwell is another honorable mention, and Protobio would be the other two that I also like.
Awesome. I think we're going to do just a couple more questions and then wrap up because it's been about an hour now.
Sweet.
So, Humble Blue Collar, is it a good idea to buy a tank and store it away? If so, how many years can it sit in storage? I don't know if there's an exact storage.
So silicone, you can look up how long silicone stays in storage, what temperature you need to store it at, and then the humidity that you need to store it at. So I would just look up the silicone statistics. That's the only thing that's going to matter is the silicone on the tank. The glass is fine.
Yeah.
So just check the silicone. Same with rubber.
If you don't know the silicone or the materials in it, you probably want to contact the manufacturer that you're buying from.
Yes.
To get some information. So hard to say on that. And if you're buying used, I'd be very cautious about that as well.
If you can keep it in like a regulated, temperature-controlled environment where it's not like, don't leave it in your garage or in like a shed in the backyard. If you're leaving it inside your house, 5 years would be absolutely fine. That's no big deal at all. If it's outside getting hot and cold, I wouldn't go more than like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I personally don't like storing tanks because then I just end up hoarding more equipment than I need, and I don't need more aquarium things and have my family call me a hoarder. So,
but it was such a good sale.
Yeah, it was a good sale.
It was a good deal.
It happens.
Yeah, no, I have a few in my storage unit too.
Yes. Mike asks, I use Alpha Reef. Is it normal to need to dose bicarbonate too? My calcium stays stable at around 440, but DKH won't stay up without bicarbonate. I would double check and make sure you don't have any like precipitation, even with this all in one product. I would just double check that. Double check that your magnesium's good. That way it's like keeping alkalinity and calcium stable. But in some cases, there are certain corals that their skeleton's slightly different on the carbonate structure. So it may uptake more alkalinity than calcium, just slightly. And if you have like a really high demand tank, then that's gonna be even more drastically pronounced. So I have had to dose carbonate and adjust alkalinity or calcium independently when using Alpha Reef, so that's totally normal.
As well. Yeah, I'd say, personally for me, that's about the point where I start looking for a different option for dosing, because if I have to dose 2 chemicals anyways, I may as well just dose 2 chemicals. But yeah, if it's infrequent, then keep going with Alpha Reef, but maybe it might be time to look for another dosing additive.
Yeah, good question, Mike. Thanks for asking that, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
We had another poll. What's your main goal for your tank? Aesthetic display was 64%, which I think most of us go for because we want it to look good.
Right.
Coral growth and propagation was 2nd place. Species-specific biotope and learning and experimentation were the other choices. So aesthetic display is my main goal as well.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I have 2 tanks, and one is definitely just for aesthetics. I wouldn't even say it's for aesthetics. I guess I'm more of a coral collector.
You just want the corals in there?
Yeah, so I think it's about how healthy my coral is, how big it's getting. I'm not too... I don't care too much, mainly maybe it's because of these tanks here, but at my home tank it's kind of just a holding tank for my favorite corals I'm passionate about. And then I have a little experiment tank that I do things to that you probably shouldn't do. No animals in there. There's a mushroom, and I try a bunch of weird things.
Yeah, you're pretty advanced though. That's different than most hobbyists.
Yeah, definitely don't go toying around with different things.
Good question. Good poll question that is, I should say. Julie8CJ asks, how can I see if a yellow manila gorgonia might be dying? I don't have any specific gorgonian experience, but generally if you're seeing tissue flaking off, that's going to be your sign for any corals dying.
Yeah.
And that's going to be also gorgonias as well.
Same thing. There's not much there. I mean, there's a lot different from gorgonias and actual other corals, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the care kind of comes down to the same.
Yeah.
If it's not eating, that's going to be a key. Gorgonias need a lot of food in general. Even the photosynthetic ones need a lot of food. So just keep feeding it.
And laminar flow is also critical to gorgonians.
Yes. Yeah, they need lots and lots of flow. And laminar, it needs to be
more than you think.
Yep. Yeah, they actually need more than SPS and Acropora. Typically, I see the successful ones you see kind of jutting out right into the center of the tank because that's where all the flow is going in front of.
Yeah, and that's why they have such a good shape. And they usually have some flex too, so they can handle it.
Yeah, they're really pretty.
And then I think our last question for the day before we head on out is Carrie Cook. Does Aperture grow on the sand bed? Found what looked like a small Aperture the other day. I scooped it out and got rid of it. I feel like I am a great person to answer this question.
I think Aperture grows everywhere. It can. Yeah. Everywhere. I find there's Aperture in there's Aperture in this tank. Now the Aperture eating filefish actually stops it from showing up in display. But even just in the overflow back there, there's no light whatsoever. There's Aperture that are a good inch across, completely clear. They aren't photosynthesizing at all. So yeah, glass, rock, sand.
They will survive the nuclear apocalypse, I think.
Yeah, pretty bad.
But yes, they can grow in the tank or in the sand bed. You know, my tank, I had the giant one that was like on the front glass. Yep. I changed something in the tank. I think it was like the flow and the lighting, and he started wandering into the sand bed. So they walk just like any other anemone does.
Yep.
So it could start in a rock, walk in the sand bed, but they're going to pop up everywhere. So he did the right thing in scooping it out. Well, it's easy.
Yeah.
I like them when they're in the sand bed because you can just like pop them out.
Yeah, just grab a little scoop of sand out of there and all of it's gone.
I'll get rid of some sand to get rid of an Aperture.
Yeah,
I think it's worth it.
I think I actually saw a post of someone recently in like maybe a beginner forum that was like, where did my Aperture go? Because they had it was just sitting front and center on the rock, and they came out the next day and it wasn't there. Yeah, they're anemones. They move. They'll move around a lot if they feel like it. So definitely kill them when you see them.
Yeah, they're a pest. Get rid of them if you can, but sand beds are they're easiest to get rid of. Yeah. So thank you everyone for watching today. I think that wraps it up for today. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.